So this will look like you going into those parts of yourself that you are truly ashamed of or that you try to repress, like being fully immersed and allowing yourself to experience the anger, to sit with it, to become friends with it, to explore your jealousies, to explore and draw awareness to where you're triggered. Okay. It's really allowing yourself to go into the more undesirable feelings, the feelings that feel uncomfortable, the feelings that have been made wrong from society, and seeing like what's there. And every time that you go into one of these triggers or you go into one of these emotions, there is literally power waiting for you. There is literally a part of your essence that is waiting to be called back and to be integrated, to allow you to fully show up and to be more of yourself in the world, which, I mean, isn't that what we're all here to do? To be the most authentic and potent versions of who we are, that spark of divinity. And you can't be the fullness of your light without first going into your shadow, without allowing yourself to fully integrate and accept the parts of you that you're absolutely terrified to let the world see. Welcome back to the Shadow Priestess Embodied. I'm your host, Kaylin Rakowski, and thank you for joining me today for another deep dive and exploration into your inner world, into your body, the shadow realms, where we will begin to explore some of these esoteric principles and really begin to drop them down into modern day application and embodiment. This is a sacred place where you can begin to truly meet yourself, meet your medicine, and to meet your magic. This is a place of remembrance. Take a deep breath and let's begin. Welcome back, you guys, for another episode. So let's just get right into it. Today, what I really want to bring to you all is the topic of resistance. And I feel like this is such a powerful conversation to explore because I know that this is something that each of us face on a day-to-day basis, whether this is internal resistance, whether this is external resistance. It's something that shows up in our current reality, and more times than not is the very thing that keeps us from moving forward with what we're desiring to experience, with who we're desiring to be, or just what we're desiring to call in. And before we get deep into this conversation about the frequency of resistance and how we can actually use this and work with this to our advantage, what really brought this into my awareness was really noticing how many of us lack presence. And this showed up because I noticed that so many of us will say that we are going to do something or, choose a certain experience, activity, whatever. But then we don't allow ourselves to fully honor our choices. We don't allow ourselves to fully drop into the present moment, to experience and receive the thing that we said we really wanted to do in the first place. Can any of you relate to this? Okay. And how this may show up, and I'm not saying I'm scotch free of this. I'm going to give you my own real life examples here. So how this showed up for me in my awareness is, I've told myself that I was going to allow myself to really just slow down, to really just allow myself to grieve, to allow myself to explore the space and just allow this to be a complete recalibration. But then I notice where my ego will slip in and make me believe that I should be doing something or I need to be doing something, and creates this like spiked anxiety in me where I begin worrying about the future, worrying about the what ifs, the should be's, the have to's, all of the things that are key indicators that you are not operating in alignment. So instead of fully honoring my choice to slow down, to play, I then create resistance, right? And I create this resistance to what is. I create resistance to my choices. I don't allow myself to fully drop in and be in the present moment. Okay. So through our resistance, it really to me is indicating key behaviors, ways of being, or our identity that is not in alignment with what we are saying we desire to call in, to be, or to create. Okay. So I want you to understand that your resistance isn't a bad thing. Your resistance is almost like a flag or a doorway inviting you into some place deep within you, in the unconscious, right? In the shadow, that is asking for your attention, that is ready to be healed, that is ready to be integrated, that is ready to be accepted, that is ready to be let go of. Okay. And this is why I wanted to bring this conversation to you all today, because when we can begin to change our relationship with our resistance, we literally can become masters of our reality. This is when we can literally begin to shapeshift and we can begin to essentially jump timelines for our most desired experience. But first, it takes you diving into your resistances. Instead of feeling that resistance and backing away, you take that resistance and you begin asking, okay, well, why am I resisting this? What am I making this mean? What is the story I'm telling myself? Because when we can begin to explore these resistances, we then begin to find parts of the unconscious mind, right? Part of our subconscious programming that we may not even be aware of, that is completely running the show, that is running our experience of reality now. So the whole idea of meeting our resistance and exploring our resistance is a way that we can really begin to bring the shadow to the light, bringing the conscious to the unconscious, because until you are ready to bring the unconscious, right, into your awareness, there is no ability to create change. There is no opportunity for choice. There is no opportunity to create and to move in a different way. This is why this conversation is so important. And I felt like we really needed to have this discussion. So, first, it's important to really understand what creates resistance or why resistance pops up. And if I had to break it down into one root cause of our suffering, it would literally be our resistance to what is. Okay. It is us believing that our current reality needs to be anything different than what it is right here in this moment. And how this shows up or what creates this is when we begin to operate so heavily in our expectations and our attachments, right? Like it needs to be this thing or then I'm a failure, or it needs to be this thing or my life is miserable. And when you are so hyper focused and operating from these expectations and attachments, it's like you create almost like this tunnel vision where if you could see me now, I wish you could see me with my hands on my eyes. It's like you're laser focused forward and all you can see is that one thing. It's like this one thing or else. And while at the same time, all around you, there's all these opportunities, abundance, relationships, experiences that are in your awareness, that are surrounding you, that are trying to give you the experience that you desire, that are trying to give you the abundance, the love, the relationships, the success, whatever it is. But you're so heavily attached to it being this one thing in this one way that you're not even seeing it. Okay. And I promise you that this is happening every single day. So I want you to take a minute and pause and just ask yourself, currently in my life, what are my attachments? Where am I operating from expectation? And what would happen if I maybe let go of it needing or me believing that it should be like this? And how can I find the beauty and the medicine that is here for me right now in this moment? Okay. Because truly, where you are at right now in your life, in your current reality, is perfect. And I know that may be hard to hear, and it can be hard to hear when you feel like you're going through challenges where it feels like you just keep getting knocked down. But I promise you that there is gold in this. Whatever season of your life that you're in holds the exact keys, the experiences, the resources, the wisdom, okay, that you need in order to unlock that next level, to unlock that next version of self, to unlock that next experience, etc. And I think this can be hard because, well, I'll say, especially if you're on the spiritual path, because for so many of us, it's stay high vibe, follow what feels good to you, love and light only. And it's like the gateway drug into spirituality. I mean, I wish it wasn't, but it is. And that's okay because it is serving a certain level of consciousness. However, when you are experiencing to ascend, essentially, it's actually going to take you going deeper. It's going to take you going into the subconscious. It's going to take you going into your own shadows, which pops up as resistance. Okay. Resistance is showing you again where there is part of your current identity, behavior, way of being that isn't in alignment with what you are trying to call in. Okay. So this part is so, so, so important. So, what we can begin to do is begin to grow and evolve through exploring the things that don't feel as good to us, right? This is truly where the gold lies, like where your greatest pain, your shame is harbored. That is literally where the medicine and where your elixir exists. Okay. So this will look like you going into those parts of yourself that you are truly ashamed of or that you try to repress, like being fully immersed and allowing yourself to experience the anger, to sit with it, to become friends with it, to explore your jealousies, to explore and draw awareness to where you're triggered. Okay. It's really allowing yourself to go into the more undesirable feelings, the feelings that feel uncomfortable, the feelings that have been made wrong from society, and seeing like what's there. And every time that you go into one of these triggers or you go into one of these emotions, there is literally power waiting for you. There is literally a part of your essence that is waiting to be called back and to be integrated, to allow you to fully show up and to be more of yourself in the world, which, I mean, isn't that what we're all here to do? To be the most authentic and potent versions of who we are, that spark of divinity. And you can't be the fullness of your light without first going into your shadow, without allowing yourself to fully integrate and accept the parts of you that you're absolutely terrified to let the world see. So I want you to begin changing your relationship with your resistance. Instead of, essentially resisting your resistance and taking this as a signal that something isn't right for you or, it's not meant for you, whatever it is, I want you to truly begin exploring your resistance. Just beginning to notice, okay, well, what's really here? Like, what is the underlying behavior, belief, etc.? Because when we do this, we can actually use resistance to cultivate deeper awareness into who we're being, into our identity, into our subconscious programming. And then in that, we have the opportunity to create change, to have choice. And I will tell you what I've seen so many times in myself, in my clients, it's like you don't even need to do anything with it. Just by you cultivating this awareness and highlighting this behavior, that alone can create change in your lives. It really can. And with this awareness, you can use it to begin noticing, okay, well, then where does this pattern, where does this belief, what does this way, or where does this way of being truly show up in my reality? And how can I begin to move in alignment with the thing that I'm saying I'm desiring to experience, with the version of myself that I'm truly desiring to be and to express in the world? Our resistance is always just pointing to us an area that is out of alignment. And with this cultivated awareness of our resistance, we have the power to truly create change and to create a reality beyond our wildest dreams, and one that's actually in alignment. If you're someone who is truly resonating with this episode and you're looking at a safe place to begin exploring your own resistance, I recently have opened a few spaces for my one on one private mentorship. And I am reopening the doors to my group mastermind Emergence. If this is calling out to you and you are ready to reclaim your power, your medicine, and your magic, click the link in my show notes. Thank you so much for joining me today for another juicy episode of Shadow Priestess Embodied. I absolutely love diving in and having these conversations with you all. If this is an episode that you found intriguing, that you found some nuggets in, please share it with a friend and be sure to subscribe and follow me so you can be present for all of the upcoming transmissions, activations, and downloads that I'll be bringing to our community. Have an absolutely magical day, and I'll see you soon.